getting someone right from the beginning and some foundation laid really helps them long-term, I think. So what do you recommend to people that are brand new that are starting?
Well, the first thing for new people starting is that they've got to be kind to themselves. And what I mean by that is, again, I've been doing this business for over 35 years. I've trained hundreds of thousands of agents in my entire career. And one of the common things that I found, Roger, is that that new salespeople, the first thing that they learn, which can be frustrating, is all the things they didn't know that they didn't know they had to learn. So in other words, they come into real estate not realizing really what this business is. They think they know. And once they get in it, they start to, because they take their license exam class,
Right.
which is nothing to do with making money in real estate. So they take the class, they pass the test, they come into a real estate office and they're like, none of this was on the test. What are you talking about? What do I have to learn? And so in the first month, they actually feel stupider, which I know is not a word, but I like it anyway. They feel stupider because they're learning all the things that they don't know that they didn't know. And so I tell them, you've got to be okay with that. That's part of the learning process, is first discovering all the things that you have to now learn.
Right.
And then you go to it. So that's the first thing I would say. The next thing is they've got to be prepared financially.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you.
It's all right. It's your show.
I agree with that very much. In other words, going back to my history of agents, I think I have, and generally speaking, industry-wide, people get recruited with a very shallow understanding of what it really takes to succeed in the business.
Right.
And it is a challenge. I agree with that. I think it's, I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's probably a number one.
Well, Roger, here's
your
the other
expectations straight.
Here's the other thing I think that's very is a big mistake with agents coming in, and I say the broker not preparing them with this, is the agents come into it thinking that it's just about selling houses, selling real estate. And really what they should do, and I'm a real advocate for telling people that they've got to stop looking at themselves as salespeople and look at themselves as business people. And I don't mean that just as a motivational expression. I really mean that they should take this on and look at it as a business person. And the reason why is because a salesperson, it's very superficial, that definition, especially for what we do in real estate, because what we do is so much more than just sell. When you are a real estate professional and you think like a business person as an entrepreneur, well, what is a business owner? Just think of any business other than real estate. Let's say you're going to open up a pizzeria. I use pizzerias because I'm Italian from New York and we got a lot of them.
Yes.
But if you're going to open up,
I have an Italian wife, so I'm eating pasta every night, so there
you go. You understand. What did
you guys
what
are
kind
a bad
pasta?
influence on me. It's hard to keep the weight down.
What did she make for you last night? What kind of pasta?
I had, it was kind of like a linguine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
With some chicken in it. It was good.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I had ziti with homemade meatballs last night, made out of saltine crackers as opposed to bread. It was delicious.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you think of if you think of opening up a pizzeria, what do you got to do? Well, first of all, you got to figure out your location. All right. So there's that. Then once you find the location, then you get the space. You got to build out the space. You got to buy your equipment. Then you got to hire your staff. You got to train your staff. You got to market your business. You've got to manage your cash flow. You've got to pay your bills. If you think about it, that's what a real estate agent has to do. They got to pick their location, which is their farm area and the office that they're going to work. They got to get their supplies and their equipment. That means their MLS and their listing, conversation book, and all that stuff. And they've got to market themselves. They got to manage their finances. They've got to think about self-promotion. Roger, when an agent says, I'm not a salesperson, I'm an entrepreneur and a business person, they take on what they do with a higher level of respect.
Yes.
And I think that that's important. And I'll share one other thing too on this. I'm really big. As a matter of fact, we gave our power agents a letter to send out to every one of their Department of States in every state of the United States, encouraging Department of Licensing to stop calling real estate agents salespeople. And here's why. Because if you look at, let's look at any sales industry, but we'll use cars as the example. When you're a salesperson selling a car, do you need to have E&O insurance? No, but we do. Do you represent the buyer like a fiduciary responsibility to the buyer and doing the right thing by them? No. In real estate, we do.
Right.
Do you need a license to sell cars? No, but in real estate, we do. Do you have to do CE every a year or 2 years? No, in real estate, we do.
Right.
So when you think of it, we are closer to doctors and lawyers than we are salespeople because we have fiduciary, we have a license, we're government managed by the state, we have certain things that we have to do. We have the insurance. So I'm really passionate about we need to stop calling ourselves salespeople and call ourselves professionals or anything other than the word salesperson.